Most people my age, in particular men, tend to think that they're lazy, but they're not. Oftentimes they're dysregulated or depleted. Our culture honors like hustle, constantly moving, getting stuff done. And so when you don't have the energy to follow through or to accomplish your goals, it's easy to get down on yourself and think that you're lazy. What I found a lot of times when we're feeling like that, when we want to do stuff but can't follow through, we have these systems in place, but the systems are dysregulated. I tend to go through a little checklist with myself to see where the leaks might be happening so we don't overcompensate in other ways. The real issue tends to be a few things. And by tightening these things up, of course, it doesn't create a miracle, but it does significantly help. First one is addressing your sleep. Like I've been diagnosed with sleep apnea. I had sleep apnea for years and didn't know it. Um, Still getting used to the CPAP machine. I don't want to act like it's super easy, but prioritizing sleep is very helpful. And even if you don't have sleep apnea, I could share, and don't have a CPAP machine, I could share some things that have been helpful for me. Having good sleep hygiene. And if you don't know what that is, you don't have to know the scientific definition of it, but basically it's just creating a system around sleep that helps you to drift to sleep and stay asleep. So what I do typically, and this is not like a strict rule or pattern of behavior, I just try to show up consistently, is I have a bedtime. I tend to wake up at 3 in the morning, so I'm in bed by 7:30 p.m. pretty consistently. Some nights I stay up later, but it costs me later on. So my bedtime strict. I have a wind down, so about an hour before, around 6:30, I try to keep the lights as dim as possible, which is not always easy having a family, but definitely no screens. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not watching any TV. Maybe about 30 minutes before that, I go take a hot to warm shower, and when I come out, come into a cool, dark room, and so that's like maybe take 15 minutes for that, and then for the last 15 minutes, I'm just in my dark room sipping on some tea. It don't have to be um, anything crazy, but I particularly like Sleepy Time brand. I'm not promoting that. I'm just saying that's what I got. I bought it about a year ago for the first time and just stuck with it. So I mean that might be helpful. But definitely the thing is sleep. Sleep is a huge lever. You pull that lever, it can cascade to a whole bunch of areas of your life. So you're talking about your hormone regulation, how you show up in the world for your mood, your desire, your follow through, all of that stuff. Pulling that lever regulates your system in a major way. So if your sleep is off, if you're one of these kind of people that don't have a consistent bedtime, don't have a consistent wake time, give it a try. Again, I don't ever, you're never going to hear me promote miracles, but that'll help out. Another thing is your stress load. Depending on what you do for a living or how your life is organized, you could have a lot of stress. That stress could be coming from family and friends. It could come from a lot of outside things. It could come from your job. It could come from internal stress. But managing your stress load can help you regulate your system as well. And what does that look like practically? Something as simple as, your breathing, slowing your breathing down to where you intentionally letting your exhale be longer than your inhale. So that looks like something like this. Yeah, it's free. You don't have to pay a lot for that. Another thing is doing something with your, if you have anxiety, doing something with it. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to say anything as a prescriber. I'm just talking general knowledge. If you're feeling anxiety, do something with it. You can go for a 5 or 10 minute walk. Uh, if you're physically able, go do some push-ups. Do something with the energy instead of just sitting there and letting it twist in your mind and come up with all of these ideas. All that's going to lead us to more dysregulation and less ability to follow through with your goals and align with your values. Another big one is overstimulation. It's something that we have in our world. If you work in corporate like myself, you constantly have access to some type of screen, whether it be your work phone, you're on your company email or whatever. You got to stay in communication with management. You got to stay in communication with the clients or other stakeholders. Like that has a subtle etching away effect. It reminds me of like how the Grand Canyon was created. It was like slowly over time that overstimulation erodes your motivation. It erodes our productivity. It erodes our social engagement, especially if you're already introverted. All that stuff goes down, and it goes down specifically because of dopamine. I mean, we all heard stuff about dopamine detox. I'm not here to preach about anything, but I mean neurochemically it's true, especially if we. What I found with me is reels. If I spend too much time on reels or YouTube shorts, like I don't want to do anything. Especially if I start my morning with that. Like if I get up in the morning and I've gotten ready for work, showered, all of that, and then I'm just waiting those 10, 15 minutes before it's time to leave so that I could be to work on time. If I spend that 10 to 15 minutes scrolling, looking at shorts, that novelty, something about the excuse me, getting over a cold. Something about that novelty makes it to where I don't want to do anything productive. Like I give the bare minimum enough to get through the day. But avoiding that stuff, it helps out. And that's just one example of being overstimulated. Like we can also get overstimulated depending on the music. Again, and this subtle stuff. It's not like we are going to feel something that's dramatic and we realize that our dopamine is slowly being depleted. But we just constantly getting these hits and our brain registers as a reward. And if you don't know about dopamine, dopamine is there for memory. It's a reward. Yes, it's part of like how you feel happy, but it's also your motivation, our motivation, wanting to do, wanting to pursue. We need that in order to pursue our goals or align with our values. And if it's low, it's depleted because we spent it all again on what I do: YouTube shorts, YouTube reels, or just anything, Instagram, watching too much Netflix, watching too much Hulu, spending too much time on video games. All of that stuff, it makes it difficult to pursue. Again, we're talking overstimulation. It's not using this stuff intentionally. I'm not saying that. That's different. But when we give up our agency so that we can numb ourselves, that's when we start getting into overstimulation. Also, poor recovery. Like I'm going into this assuming that most people watching engage in some form of exercise. And the exercise could be walking your dog. Exercise could be running. It could be jogging. It could be lifting weights. It could be doing your MMA. Practicing for some type of sport. If we don't prioritize recovery, that also dysregulates the system, and we start feeling like, why is it that I'm not going after my goals with the same intensity that I had when I started? Why don't I want to spend this time with my family, or go after this, or take on that task like I initially had the energy to do? It's like I'm starting, but I'm not finishing. Well, it could be because your nervous system is signaling you did a lot, and now we have to recover. When I was younger, like I've always lifted weights. That was something that my pops made me do when I was younger, and it just stuck with me. Then I went into the military. Same thing. Have to do PT. This is not a maybe. You got to get up and you got to do it, or they'll put you on a program, and then try to get you up out of there. So, working out has always been a thing, and now it's a part of my identity. I don't even think about it no more. Like, I'm going to lift weights. I don't run anymore, but I do my little bike or some other type of cardio. I might go to the treadmill. But anyway, I'm saying that to say, when I was younger, like, I would be in the gym 2 hours a day, 5, maybe 6 days a week. I'd be jogging 5 miles, which is not a lot to some people, but for me and my body, it was a lot. 5 miles, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. I'm not taking no days off. And at a certain point, I realized that when I went from lifting 5 or 6 days a week to lifting 3 or 4 days a week, I was getting more gains. My goal was never like building muscle. My goal was getting stronger, like powerlifting type of stuff, strongman lifting. So I noticed that my PR started to go up the more I rested. I noticed that the little nagging aches in my ankle, my knee, my hip, from squatting or whatever, or when I was jogging, the shin splints, they started to go away when I went from 5 or 6 times a week down to like 3 or 4 times a week. So recovery is important. The thing is, what I'm saying all of that is to say is we don't try to fix this by getting more motivation. I mean, yeah, it's cool to watch the videos and we hear these different people talk us up and get us motivated, or we tell ourselves like, hey, stop being weak, just do what you got to do. I mean, that might help, but at the same time, it might backfire. Everybody's wired differently. Like, sometimes, yeah, you could talk yourself into it. Sometimes you can't. You can also try to take a bunch of caffeine, whether it be energy drinks or caffeine pills, to make yourself like, all right, I'm about to pop this pill. I'm about to drink this. I'm not promoting no brands, but drink this energy drink, and then I'm going to attack my task. And that might work like for a little while, but eventually the crash is going to happen. Again, what really helps is your sleep consistency. I would say number one. If you don't take anything else out of this, if your sleep is not on point, if your sleep is not a priority, this is not 1980s, where it's like, I sleep when I die. Not everybody's wired like that. Some of us really need to prioritize sleep. And I would encourage you, especially if you, like in my age range, people that's between 30 and 60, prioritize sleep. Like, yeah, when you was 20, you can go out there. I'm speaking, take it for me. When I was 20, I remember times where I would go out, spend all night with my buddies, and we'll be, drinking and, out there on the town, and then it come back 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, take a nap, take a shower, and then be ready for formation by 700 hours. That was nothing. And I would get up, like I would feel a little tired, but I could still make it through the day. I couldn't do that today if I wanted to. So, maybe you can. I wouldn't advise it. I would say keep your distance, your discipline consistent. Keep it real with yourself. If you say you're gonna do something, do it. If you say you're not gonna do something, do it. You might have thoughts that come up 1,000 times in a day telling you to do what you don't want to do, or to not do what you know you need to do, but the discipline is to do it. And it could be light, it could be small stuff. Like if you tell yourself, I'm going to do cardio today, and ideally you want to do an hour of cardio, but if maybe you only have the motivation and the bandwidth to do 20, do that 20. Maybe you can only do 10, do 10. The point is to be consistent and to keep voting for that version of yourself that's disciplined. Also regulate your system. Take the deep breaths. Find whatever works for you stress wise. I tend to use deep breathing, but you don't have to do that. That might not be something that resonates with you. It helps me. So, but it's 2026. There's a plethora of information out there on how to cope with your stress. Find out what works for you. Like, for example, we talk about supplements. Going back to stress, I found magnesium helps me. This is something that I didn't know, and doing a quick Google search. I know go to Uncle Google for almost everything. Like I found out that magnesium, it helps with my sleep. It helps me to not feel irritable. It helps me to stay focused. It helps me to feel calm when I'm doing deep work, especially when I have like cognitive tasks. Magnesium is a game changer. Again, I'm not prescribing. I'm not no doctor. I'm not saying. I'm just talking what has helped me. And I'm not telling you to go out and buy no magnesium and then take it and then your life is going to change. I'm just saying, like, magnesium has improved my life, let's say about 20-30% for sure. And the thing is, you have to stay consistent. If you're not getting enough from your diet, and from what I understand, we don't have a lot of, like, our foods and veggies are not as nutrient dense as they used to be. So getting it in supplement form may be beneficial and help you with stress. And, saying all of these things to say small things matter. Small adjustments, calm focus beats being super intense. That's my mentality. You can go hard where you can go hard, go hard. But if it's something that's new and you want to make a change, just do it slowly. Take small steps, but do it consistently. If you want to get rid of something, again, small steps, taper yourself off. Even if you're going cold turkey, just take it easy. You don't have to bombard yourself. We're probably not broken. Probably just overloaded. Thank you for your time.